Well, hey, Ethan, really appreciate you joining me. As I mentioned going in this, we're doing these conversations with folks involved in apprenticeship all over the country. Super excited to have you on, talk about your perspective as an apprentice and how we can make things simpler. But before we do that, would love you to just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about yourself, your apprenticeship, how you kind of got involved, how you found the apprenticeship in the first place.
Sure, yeah. So my name is Ethan Duquette. I got involved with my apprenticeship last year after I graduated high school. My girlfriend at the time, her dad actually went through pretty much the same program. So he told me about it, explained, like the basics, gave me a phone call, and then that was pretty much it. I started from there.
Cool. And like, how did you apply? How did you get into it? Like, tell me a little bit about more. All right, so you found out about it, happened to know somebody that's great. How did you actually like get from finding out about it to becoming an apprentice yourself?
I pretty much just called the IEC and was like, hey, I just graduated. I'm looking to get started in the trade. Where do I start? They
Yep,
told me to come on down. I filled out an application. They put my name on their website. And then within a week, my company had called me and wanted to hire me.
that's awesome. And like,
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Like, what did the? I mean, you're certainly going into this. I don't know if you had any sort of trade experience, electrical experience. Like, what was the interview like? Like, what were they looking for from you? You think just generally?
I think mostly they were looking for dedication, someone who was sure this is what they wanted to do, that wasn't just going to flake out on them like 2 or 3 weeks into it. That was kind of the vibe I got. Like they really wanted people who knew this is what they wanted to do.
Yep, awesome. And remind me again where you're based.
I'm in Austin.
Cool. All right. So from Austin, Texas, then one question I ask everybody, we're really like our company mission is how to do this. We're really curious to hear other perspectives. What is the one thing do you think can be made a lot simpler in the apprenticeship world? Like, how do we make apprenticeship simpler across the board?
I think from a retrospective standpoint, it's probably visibility because by the time I graduated high school, my school was very college based. Like, you got to apply, you got to apply, you got to go to college, you got to get a degree. And at the time, it's not that I didn't want to, but I didn't have any like aspirations in college, like I couldn't really see a future for myself there. And it kind of felt like, well, I have two options, the military or college. And I kind of had to pick. So I kind of sat on it for a little while until I ended up being introduced to the IEC, gave them a call, and kind of went from there. But yeah, I think having the option of like an apprenticeship program or some sort of trade is nice to know that it's there.
Yeah. So, I think in some circles, people refer to apprenticeship as like the best kept secret in workforce, which is absurd. Like we should make it so it's shouted from the rooftops. Everybody should know these
Right.
exist. In countries that do this really well, it is thought of as a parallel path. It's right up there because you go to apprenticeship, you go to college, doesn't really matter. So I'm curious if you had a magic wand, right, and you could address this problem, how would you make apprenticeships more visible? How would you make sure that you're not relying upon, well, I happen to be dating somebody whose dad was an electrician and they helped me figure out how do you solve this problem from your perspective?
Um, Probably from an outreach standpoint. At our school, we had people from different colleges come in and talk to us, tell us about their campuses and whatnot. We had a military recruiter come in. They talked to us, the senior class. They told us all about the military, and that was interesting. But that was it. Those were the only two like pathways they kind of offered to us. So I think having somebody from the trades or from an apprenticeship program come out to different schools, especially ours, I think would have been a really nice thing to have offered to us.
That's awesome. And I think, you know, there is some movement. We have seen some movement where more employers getting involved, more like state folks get involved. Obviously, not to the level where everybody knows about it. It's still a bit of a secret. So, increasing visibility of apprenticeships, fantastic, perspective. That's all we got today. Like I said, we keep these nice and short. So thank you, Ethan. Really appreciate your perspective, and
Thank you.
you have a good one.
Thanks. You too.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording.
All right.